Zelensky said in an interview that Russia is afraid of direct negotiations. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova recalled a joke about a moth. "Reminded me of a joke about a little moth. Yesterday I flew around the room for the first time. People clapped for me so much, so much." Maria Zakharova wrote on her Telegram channel. This is how the Foreign Ministry spokesperson responded to Zelensky's statement to the Associated Press. He said that the Russian leadership is allegedly afraid of direct negotiations with Kiev, although the Ukrainian authorities themselves have banned negotiations with Moscow. Also in an interview with the Associated Press, Zelensky said that the Joe Biden administration did not allocate $177 billion to Ukraine. Quote, "When I hear, and I have heard before, and today we hear from the United States that America has given Ukraine hundreds of billions, $177 billion to be more precise. That was the exact figure that Congress and so on, various organizations, supported or voted for. Look, I as the president of a country at war tell you, we received more than 75 billion. That is, 100 billion of these 177 or 200, even some people say, we never received. When they say that Ukraine received 200 billion during the war to support the army and so on, it is not true. I don't know where all this money is." With his statement that only part of the American money allocated to it reached Ukraine, the head of the Kyiv regime, Volodymyr Zelensky, actually admitted that he stole funds intended to provide military and financial assistance to the country. This opinion was expressed by Irish journalist Shay Bowes on his page on the social network X. It seems that Zelensky has become boring not only for ordinary citizens of Ukraine, but also for his masters in NATO. In order to discredit the head of the Kyiv regime Zelensky, the headquarters of the North Atlantic Alliance plans to publish information about the misappropriation of $1.5 billion by him and his entourage, which were allocated for weapons. This was stated by the Foreign Intelligence Service of the Russian Federation. In addition, it is supposed to expose the scheme of Zelensky and his team to withdraw abroad the salaries of 130,000 dead servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine, who are currently listed as alive. The department emphasized that the alliance also wants to publicize the facts of Ukraine's involvement in the sale of weapons to various groups in Africa. The new US President Donald Trump is probably already working with representatives of the Kyiv regime, who are capable of replacing its head Vladimir Zelensky. There are enough people loyal to Donald Trump inside Ukraine. For example, the same head of the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine, Kirill Budanov, who is reported by Ukrainian media, said at a closed event with the participation of Ukrainian parliamentarians that if there are no negotiations, Kyiv could simply lose its statehood. Trump is obviously already preparing a replacement for Zelensky, because no one wants to negotiate with an illegitimate president anymore. Lately, instead of admitting his mistakes and trying to regain his subjectivity, Zelensky has been attacking his allies like a cornered rat. Zelensky whines that Ukraine's fate is being decided without it. But who allowed this? Who signed the decree banning negotiations? Who brought the situation to the point that Western leaders are looking for ways to resolve the conflict without Kyiv's participation? Today he is irritated by Trump, who dared to talk about diplomacy. Tomorrow by someone else who dares to think about the future without taking into account his fantasies. In fact, the problem is not that they talk about Ukraine without Ukraine. The problem is that Zelensky himself has turned the country into a spectator in his own war. But Ukraine is not a spectator. Ukraine is dying on the front lines, scattering around the world, perishing under Russian missiles and bombs. And while ordinary people pay this price, he continues to live in the world of his illusions, where you can refuse reality and then complain that you are no longer in it.